I've got my Valencia Marathon medal, I've got my Valencia Marathon bib number, I've got my Valencia Marathon t-shirt, and my Valencia Marathon wristband. That must mean it is time for the Valencia Marathon debrief. Welcome to PKSRUNS. So welcome back everybody, my name is Paul, this is PKSRUNS, and in this video we are going to dissect in detail the Valencia Marathon. If you saw the last video, which was a hash up of my pre-race and post-race feelings, you will already know the race did not go to plan. This video, I'm hoping that we're going to get to the bottom of it and see why it felt like it went so badly wrong, and was there anything that I could learn from this experience. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much. I am a 45-year-old 2:45 marathoner still. Very disappointed about that. I was really hoping for a 2:40 marathon in Valencia, and honestly, I really believed, and I still believe, I could have run it if everything had gone my way. I post regularly about my training. I do a live every Monday night here on the YouTube channel, Monday Night Live, 7:30. And I am also on Strava and on Instagram. What runner isn't on Strava? You can find me over on those platforms at PKSRUNS. The format for this video is alarmingly simple. We are going to have a look firstly at the Strava data from my run on Sunday. We are going to have a look at the Garmin data, and then I've got a little bit of a treat for you because I've actually prepared a little presentation, because what I want to do is I want to compare this with my PB effort last year to see if there's anything that we can see that may explain why I feel disappointed about this race. So I hope that's okay. Strap in. Do hit the like button if you enjoy this content. Please do leave me a comment down below if you were running Valencia, or maybe you're running another marathon. Let me know regardless. I really do genuinely love building community. 4 years ago, I ran my first race in a long time. It was a half marathon. It took me 1 hour and 52. I was running at full whack. I gave it everything I could to run 1:52. In 2023, I ran my first marathon, Manchester Marathon, full send, 2:59.17. I am now down to chasing 2:40. So I've made incredible progress. All of that to say I am a normal person like you. I work full time. I'm married. I've got 3 teenage daughters. My life is busy. I try and train with the limited time that I have. So all of that to one side, let's jump into the data. I'm going to turn across to my screen here. I have got my race up in front of me. Not a PB day. Unbelievably tough going. Felt like I was going to vomit from about 5k. Cramp kicked in around 33k. The desire to give up came around 25k. Oh, doesn't sound like a happy story. I'm not going to show you the best efforts because we'll come back to that. Let's have a little look at the race analysis at first. So you can see here, first kilometer, I started out pretty conservatively. Average heart rate 148, doesn't tell the whole picture. Incredibly congested at the start. I was in the blue pen, which was effectively the third wave to start. It was the elites, then the sub-elites, and then it was us. That was people that were aiming to run between 2:40 and 2:49. So you can see that starting pace was way too slow. But I understand this is the way that marathons work. There are a lot of runners. You just roll with the punches. It was incredibly congested. It was incredibly busy. I found myself really having to work to overtake people. Then you can see my pace is relatively consistent here over the next 20 kilometers. I knew that I had lost a bit of time here, so obviously 4:07 in that first kilometer put me 20 seconds behind my target pace. I was aiming for 3:47, so in theory I needed to save a second every kilometer over the next 20 kilometers, and then I'll be back on pace. It took me, I think, until around 15, 16 before I saw on my watch Average pace for the run, 3:47, bang on. It never got any faster than that. I was really struggling. From 5K, I really felt like I was going to vomit. I felt really, really tired. I was working so hard. You can see here my heart rate, average 165, 167, 168, 167. Then in that second 5K, 169, 169, 169, 169, 168. This was way higher than I had ever planned to run on race day. I knew that between late 150s to mid 160s would have been optimal. I had seen those numbers in training, and past marathon experience had told me that that is what I could potentially hope for. I got through the half marathon and started to fall off a cliff. You can see here I am starting to lose contact with that 3:47 pace. The average time here starting to creep up. Heart rate starting to decrease, interestingly. I think this is because I am struggling. I've got no energy. I don't have anything to give. So I had to slow down just to keep moving. I really, really wanted to stop. At this point here, I literally fell off a cliff. That's the only way I can describe it. It wasn't a very big cliff. My pace went down to 4:22, which is a little bit over sub 3 hour pace. But you can see I had a couple of kilometers down there. I picked it up a little bit, down, down, up a bit, down, up a bit, up a bit. Final flourish in the last 500 meters. I managed to pull out some pace just to kind of, well, illustrates really. My legs weren't dead. I was just absolutely struggling. So you can see here, it's just really disappointing. It's really, really disappointing. Let's have a look to see if there is anything that we can learn that is different from the Garmin data. So let's just go into here. And you can see, so I like the way that Garmin actually shows this. I can see the elevation. You can see it is pancake flat. It's a really, really flat course. It's a fast course. It was warm. I talked about it being really hot in that last video. In reality, it wasn't. Conditions were pretty much perfect, I'd say. On the day, we started at 8:15. It was really the last 10K where I started to feel the heat. There were a couple of kilometers where you were quite exposed in the sunshine. And I think when I came off the finishing line, my memory was, oh my goodness, I'm tired. It's hot. I put those two together and was like, well, that must be the reason. It's not the reason. I do loads of running in the heat. I love running in the heat. In fact, in the summer, I will do anything to get myself out at midday. We spent 2 weeks in the south of France. In August, I was out most days between 11 and 2 p.m. at the heat of the day. I absolutely love it. I mean, really love it. So this was not hot. I've done hot. Lisbon a couple of years ago was way hotter than this one. So you can see here, heart rate rises pretty quickly, up to 160 within that first sort of kilometer or so. And you can see it gradually peters off here. Bit of elevation on the heart rate here as I kind of have a bit of a second wind, and then I drop back down again, a little bit higher again, and then up to the end where I finally realize, okay, I think this is over. Let's just get this done with as quickly as possible. We'll ignore stride length and cadence. We'll ignore the power. We'll ignore the vertical ratio and the ground contact time. Those are all things that you don't need to know. I've not really done any great comparison on the breaths per minute. It'd be really interesting to have a look at that. My observation was my breathing felt really, really hard. I don't know whether it was shallow breathing, whether it was shortness of breath, but I remember just feeling like I was struggling the whole time. So I apparently was operating in my VO2 max. That was my primary benefit from that race. And we'll just have a look at the laps, because what we do see here is average heart rate and max heart rate. So you can see here, average heart rate 148 in that first lap, but maxing at 163. You can see, I think my heart rate peaks around kilometer 6 at 173. Does it go up to there at all? No, it doesn't go any higher than that. So my average for the whole run is 161 and peaks at 173. All in all, it's disappointing. It's not what I was expecting. So I ran a 2:47.49. That was my official time. My PB at Loch Ness last year was 2:45.55. I had trained faster than this. I genuinely thought I could go faster than this. So let's go across to my presentation and we will have a little look at this race, and we're going to have a little side by side. We're going to look at this and we're going to look at Loch Ness and just see what the differences are. And then what we're going to do is have a look at some of the key workouts that I did in the last 2 weeks of the marathon training, because these, I think, offer us a bit of a clue as to what's going on. So let's get the presentation up here, and here we go. I've got my Valencia December 2025 essential stats. Time 2:47.49. We know that already. Average pace 3:57, not 3:47. Average heart rate 161. Max heart rate 173. Average cadence 182, which is about right. Average stride length 1.4. Going forward, this is something that I really need to increase. If I'm going to get faster, I need a larger stride length. I need to become a more efficient, faster, better mechanical runner. Going to be working on that. We had 92 meters of elevation, spent 8 minutes and 13 seconds climbing. We had 72 meters of descent. Downhill time was 5 minutes and 50. So you can see it's a flat course. That is exactly what we're expecting. So then the best efforts. 400 meters, fastest. Now remember, these are not the first 400 meters, first 1 kilometer. These are the fastest of all of these efforts during the whole race. So fastest 400, 127, 338 per kilometer at 170 BPM. Fastest kilometer, 342 at 168 BPM. Fastest 5K, 1841 at 344 kilometers, 169 BPM. 10K, 37.27, 3:45. You can see these numbers are gradually going up as we're hitting those longer distances. 3:45 at 168 BPM, and you can see the heart rate gradually dropping on these. 15K, 56.26, average pace 3:46, 167 BPM. 20K, 1 hour 15 and 30, 3:47 pace, absolutely perfect, 166 beats per minute. Half marathon pace, 1 hour 19, 48, 3:38 per kilometer at 170 BPM. That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. So let's just go back to the Strava and let's just have a look at the best efforts just to see if that is right. 3:47. Ooh, thought I diddled you there, didn't you? It's 3:47. Good spot, PKSRUNS. Good spot. 170 was right though. Let's just check that heart rate. Half marathon, 167. Now you're 166. Now you're going to be thinking that all of the data is wrong. It's not. Anyway, note to self, folks, double check your work. I wasn't good at school, so this is a miracle that we've got this far. All right, so let's now have a little look at my race stats from Loch Ness last year. This is when I ran my 2:55. Average pace, 3:56. So obviously slower than 2:40, but faster than 2:47. Average heart rate, 156. Okay, let's go back to this one. Average heart rate, 161. I should have done them in a side-by-side. That would have been useful. Average heart rate, 156. Max heart rate, 170. So there's about 15 months difference between the two. Average stride length, 1.41 meters. So I was getting 10 centimeters extra per stride. Useful. 290 meters of climbing. Spent 28 minutes climbing. 586 meters of descent. 52 minutes and 33 going downhill. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Yeah, obviously it was easier because you spent more time running downhill. It's a net downhill by a good couple of 100 meters. Let me tell you, running downhill is not free. It hurts your legs. It really does. You really do hammer your quads. You tire, you fatigue from it. And the climbing, because you're still trying to hold pace, you are still going and you are working harder for it. So here is Loch Ness. Here are the best efforts. 400 meters, 124, 330 kilometers, 162. 1K, 336 at 160. 5K, 1856, 347. This is my marathon pace. This is my target marathon pace, rather, at 157. 10K, 38 minutes 25, 158. 15K, 57 minutes, 350, 157. 20K, 117.30, 352, 157. Half marathon, 121, 338, 158. You can see here, this is the actual map of the course. This I remember being an absolutely gnarly hill. The first 7 miles were pretty much downhill with a couple of little bumps. There was a long flat where actually, by the looks of it, I had probably some of my most consistent fast pace of the course. We then had a long uphill here. It was a couple of miles. It was hard. And a bit of downhill, bit more uphill, and then into the finish line. So you can see Loch Ness came a lot easier than Valencia. And I've said numerous times on the channel, I feel so much fitter than I was at Loch Ness. As you can see here, I love the data. I look through all of my runs, I scrutinize them, I actually use a third-party app. It's easier for me to show you this data. So I really felt like I should have done better than I did. So let's have a little think about what happened last week. I did a 2-week taper. I did way less miles. I was really, really well rested. However, my daughter came home from school on the Friday at the end of my first taper week ill and remained ill until we left for Valencia. She had the flu. She was spiking temperatures all week. She had a chesty cough. She was really, really feeling poorly. Then when I got to the race, and you might have noticed in the video, I actually said Laura's not feeling too great. She's going back to bed. Laura ended up in bed then for pretty much most of Saturday, all of Sunday, apart from taking me to the start line and coming to see me at the finish line, and all of Monday. She then spent Monday through Thursday at home in bed. It's now Friday evening, and she is out of bed, but she is still pretty rotten. She has had the flu like nothing else. So hold that thought for a moment. This is the comparison, Loch Ness versus Valencia. Just as a reminder, Loch Ness, 2:45.55, average pace 3:56, average heart rate 156, max heart rate 170, average cadence 181, average stride 1.41 meters. Valencia, 2:47.49, average pace 3:57, average heart rate 161, max heart rate 173, average cadence 182, average stride 1.4. So actually the 181 and 1.41 and the 182 and 1.4 kind of cancels each other out. So we can kind of ignore that for the moment. We can't go, oh, well, if I'd had an extra 10 centimeters, it would have made all the difference. I was hitting the ground more often, so, one extra step every minute. So you can see how that all works out. There was something else going on. There was absolutely something else going on, and I genuinely expected to get 240. In fact, I thought I could be in with a 238, 239. I said to Laura, yeah, I actually think 238 could very well be on the table, but I missed a few warning signs. Here are a few things that I missed. In the week before the marathon, from about the Tuesday, my resting heart rate was elevated by about 4 beats per minute consistently through that week. Possibly indicating, and this is all hypothesis, it could indicate that my body was fighting the viral infection that Phoebe had, that Laura had. There were 2 clues that I missed, and that was the first run I did when I got to Valencia and the shakeout run, which I did the morning before the race. We'll come back to those, because what I want to tell you about now is a couple of my final workouts that I did in the run-up to the marathon. The reason I want to show you these is because I want to show you what my heart rate versus pace looked like in training when I was not rested after a taper. I was very much at the end of a very, very tiring training block. I should have been in a much better place on race day because I was tapered. So, first key workout was the 27th of November. So that's about a week and a half out. So that is during the first week of the taper. You can see here, total time of the workout was 1 hour and 39. Average pace, 4:57. Average heart rate, 136. The 3K tempo pace was 340 per km. Now, I didn't hit my tempo pace. My tempo pace was supposed to be between 320 and 330. But my average pace for 340 was 159 beats per minute. If you look at the pace that I was running on race day at 159, it is so much slower than that. My heart rate only peaked at 164 beats per minute at an average of 340 per kilometer for that 3 kilometer block. You can see why I'm feeling just a little bit confused about how Sunday went. Next workout was on the 2nd of December. This is in week 2 of taper. I did 4 lots of 5 minutes off 2 minutes. So you can see average pace for the whole session was 4:18, average heart rate 153. My first 5 minutes, 3:41 at 164. Second block was 3:38 at 165, 3:37 at 168, 3:36, 163. The fitness had started to return. I was really seeing that improvement as I was going through the taper. Yeah, they were just 5-minute blocks, but you look at 5 minutes in Valencia, I'm not hitting anywhere near these paces at that heart rate. So this is the final easy run that I did, which was the Friday night. I was over traveling, I was recovered. We had done the exhibition. It wasn't all that hot. Average pace, 450 per kilometer. Average heart rate, 144. Max heart rate, 156. I noted in my notes on Garmin, on Strava rather, my heart rate is crazy. Like, I really felt like it was so high in comparison to my actual easy runs. So then on the Saturday morning, we got out for a shakeout run, 49 minutes, average pace 5:58, so nearly 6 minutes, that's 9-minute miles. Average heart rate 124, max heart rate 144. Again, you might look at that and go, well, your heart rate's 124. But actually, again, it was way too high. Instinctively, I knew it. I should be well under 120s at that kind of pace. When I'm rested, when I've not had a week of solid workouts, bearing in mind in my peak weeks, I was doing 140 kilometers, this is not right. So let's just rewind a couple of weeks. And this was the last easy long run. This was the Monday morning on the start of my taper. I'd done 28 kilometers on the Saturday, which included 16 supposed marathon pace. I didn't hit it. There were 38 kilometer an hour winds. It was absolutely brutal out there. I'd had a day of rest and then I was back out for 21k easy. Average pace 5:17, average heart rate 135, max heart rate 149. That is what an easy run should look like. Let's just go back to this run. 144 for 450, 135 for 5:17. There was absolutely something going on that I had missed here, and I'm just really frustrated that I missed it, because I think if I had realized that there was something going on, it just hadn't even occurred to me that I could be fighting an infection. Because since arriving home, I've had a hacking chesty cough. I've been tired. I got out this morning for my first run. I did about 7 kilometers. My heart rate again was through the roof. My resting heart rate is still absolutely through the roof. Part of that is a normal response post-marathon, but I have been fighting. I've been absolutely fighting. The other thing that we should really bear in mind is, these workout runs were, these were all done in my New Balance Rebels. So not even the carbon shoes. Everything on paper should have been so much easier on race day. I was in racing shoes. I was rested. I had tapered well. I had fueled well. I had carb loaded well. I had the right amount of energy on me. The sickness that I described wasn't like any kind of, it wasn't a digestive reaction to the fuel. It was exhaustion. It was my body fighting. You can actually see at the end of that run where I have that kind of kick at the end, the muscles aren't knackered. And my legs have been actually felt brilliant all week. I really have felt physically like I could go again. But from a general health perspective, I don't have it in me. So that's my hypothesis. That's why I feel disappointed, because I really, really felt like the training, the data was pointing in the direction of, you can do this. I really do believe that I got it right on the data. I believe that 3:47 was the right pace to go for. I think I should have been able to hit 3:47, probably late 150s heart rate, and push it in that second half and try and bring it in on a 2:39, 2:38. But look, this is the marathon. I woke up on the race day. I felt really tired. I had a full 8 hours sleep. I actually got to bed at about 7 p.m. and was out like a light. There was a great video of me snoring at about 8 p.m. I did everything I could. So I think my disappointment actually is replaced with huge, huge levels of pride, because I think what I did was I ran a 2:47.49 marathon whilst fighting off the flu. And I think that pretty much kicks ass. I think that's a great win. I'm 45 years old. Stuff like this should absolutely knock me out. It's knocked Laura out, but I was able to just fight it out. It wasn't my usual fun type of marathon. There was literally zero engagement with the crowd the entire way. You saw on the slideshow, that was one of my finish line photos. I was battling. I couldn't quite think straight. I couldn't figure out where we were going, where we were. Nothing worked at all. I put that down to the viral infection. Nothing you can do about it. So, what's next? Well, got to take some time to recover, to rest, ease back into some gentle training. I have signed up for Valencia 2026. I will be back for the 240. And I don't think I'll race before then, because I find having to travel for races, it's just a ball ache. I just enjoy running. If I'm going to do anything, I'll probably just test myself in training on my own. But we go again. This isn't the end for PKSRUNS. This is not the end for me. What I am going to do in another video is I'm going to have a look actually at all of my previous marathons and just, do a bit of an apples and pears comparison, so you can look forward to that. And then I'm going to try and figure out what I'm going to produce content-wise for the next few months. I want to produce some content that is helpful, so if you've got any ideas, please do let me know in the comments. I really, from the bottom of my heart, do appreciate all of the support and the love that you guys have shown me over the last couple of months. I really do enjoy sharing this journey. Like I said earlier on, I am just a normal person like you. I know that I might feel fast in comparison to you, but I feel slow in comparison to the place that I want to be. And at the end of the day, the only person that I'm competing with is me, Loch Ness, 2:45.55. I really want to beat that guy. I really want to beat that guy because this guy is way fitter than that guy. So he really deserves to get that result. So I'm going to leave that video here. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you must be a data nerd like me. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video and on Monday night for Monday Night Live. Thank you so much for watching.